There comes a moment in every spiritual journey when the structures we once trusted begin to tremble, when the glittering towers of false security reveal their cracks, and the soul is invited to witness truth without the disguise of glamour. Revelation chapter 18 opens in that very moment, a moment of unveiling, of collapse, of holy clarity. Another mighty angel descends, radiant with authority, and the whole earth brightens beneath its presence. His voice does not whisper, it thunders. He announces what has already been set in motion. Babylon has fallen. Not merely a city, but a system, a way of life built on seduction, exploitation, and spiritual intoxication. A world order that promised abundance but delivered bondage. A culture that taught humanity to trade its soul for luxury, its integrity for influence, its compassion for profit. Hi, welcome to my channel. I'm Michelle, your inner light coach, and I'm grateful you joined me today. Thank you for shining your presence here. This Sunday Soul Sanctuary video is about Revelation chapter 18, when the towers of illusion fall. This chapter is not just about judgment, it's about sobriety. It is the moment when heaven calls the faithful to step out of the world's illusions. Come out of her, my people, so they will not share in her downfall. It is a divine invitation to disentangle from what drains the spirit, to walk away from what no longer aligns with truth, to refuse participation in systems that harm the soul. As merchants, kings, and shipmasters mourn the collapse of Babylon, we are reminded that everything built on deception eventually crumbles. What is not rooted in God cannot stand. What is not aligned with love cannot endure. Revelation chapter 18 is the great unmasking, the moment when the world's glitter fades and the eternal becomes visible again. Let this chapter speak to the places in your own life where Babylon still whispers. Let it illuminate the subtle seductions that pull you away from your center. And let it strengthen your courage to walk in the clarity of truth, even when the world around you trembles. On the altar, in the center, we have a single black pillar candle representing Babylon's towering pride in the moment of its collapse, symbolizing the last flicker of a corrupt system before it falls. At the base of the candle, we have broken pieces of pottery and stone, representing the shattered foundations of false power. On the left side, a white cloth path. This represents the path of the faithful, leaving Babylon, the divine invitation to step out of illusion. On the cloth, a small clear glass bowl of water symbolizing purity, cleansing, spiritual sobriety. A sprig of wild clove, symbolizing the simplicity and resilience of those who chose truth over luxury. And a white tea light, symbolizing the light that guides the soul out of confusion. On the right side, scattered coins, jewelry, a small box, an empty pouch, and a dark stone, laden with a burnt matchstick and ashes to symbolize the suddenness of Babylon's fall. In the back row, a white candle that represents the angel whose glory illuminates the earth. A feather to represent the messenger. A small mirror to represent revelation, exposure, and truth reflected without distortion. Revelation chapter 18, verse 1. A mighty angel descends from heaven, radiant with authority so intense that the whole earth brightens beneath him. His presence alone announces that something enormous is shifting. A divine intervention that exposes what has been hidden in shadow. Verse 2. He cries out with a thunderous voice, Babylon has fallen! Not just a city, but a spiritual empire built on seduction, corruption, and spiritual intoxication. Its fall is total. It becomes a dwelling place for unclean spirits, a symbol of what happens when a system rots from the inside. Verse 3. The nations, kings, and merchants all participated in Babylon's seductions. They drank her intoxicating influence, wealth without conscience, power without compassion, luxury without soul. Now the consequences arrive. Verse 4. A second voice from heaven calls out, Come out of her, my people! This is the divine invitation to disentangle, to step away from systems that drain the spirit, so you do not share in their downfall. It is a call to spiritual sovereignty. Verse 5. Babylon's sins have stacked up like a tower reaching heaven. Nothing is forgotten. The reckoning is not random. It is the natural consequence of long-sustained corruption. Verse 6. She is repaid in proportion to what she has done. The system that exploited others now tastes its own medicine. The scales of justice balance themselves. Verse 7. Babylon boasted in her own invincibility, claiming she was a queen who would never mourn. Her arrogance becomes her downfall. The higher the pride, the harder the fall. Verse 8. Her destruction comes swiftly in a single day. Plague, fire, famine, and mourning sweep through her because the Lord who judges her is mighty. This is the collapse of illusion. Verse 9. The kings of the earth who indulged in her luxuries now stand at a distance, terrified. They mourn not out of love, but out of fear. Their source of power has fallen. Verse 10. They cry out, How terrible! In 1 hour your judgment came. The suddenness of the collapse shocks them. What seemed eternal was fragile all along. Verse 11. The merchants weep because no one buys their goods anymore. Their grief is economic, not spiritual. Their empire of profit has evaporated. Verses 12 and 13. A long list of luxury items is recited. Gold, silver, fine linen, spices, wine, livestock, and even human lives. This is a poetic inventory of a world obsessed with consumption. The final item, human souls, reveals the true cost of Babylon's wealth. Verse 14. Everything Babylon lusted after, the pleasures, the excess, the indulgence, is gone forever. The soul's cravings cannot be filled by what is temporary. Verses 15 to 17. Merchants and shipmasters stand far away, watching the smoke rise. They mourn the loss of their wealth, not the loss of righteousness. Their sorrow reveals what they truly worshipped. Verses 18 through 19. They throw dust on their heads, an ancient sign of grief, and cry out over the fall of the great city that made them rich. Their lament is the sound of the world built on exploitation collapsing. Verse 20. Heaven, apostles, and prophets are told to rejoice, not because of destruction, but because justice has finally been served. The oppressed are vindicated. Verse 21. A mighty angel throws a massive stone into the sea. declaring that Babylon will never rise again. This is the finality of divine judgment, the end of a corrupt system. Verses 22 and 23. The sounds of music, craftsmanship, and celebration vanish. The light of lamps goes out. The voice of the bride and the bridegroom is silenced. Life itself withdraws from Babylon. Her sorcery deceived the nations, and now the spell is broken. Verse 24. The chapter ends with a revelation. Babylon is responsible for the blood of prophets, saints, and all who were slain by her corruption. This is why her fall is complete and irreversible. Revelation chapter 18 is the moment when illusion collapses, truth rises, and the soul is called to step out of systems that no longer align with God. It is both a warning and a liberation. In closing, as we close, Revelation chapter 18, let your spirit settle into the quiet truth this chapter reveals. Babylon's fall is not justice. It's not just a story of destruction. It is the unveiling of what cannot last. It is the moment when the glitter fades, the masks drop, and the soul finally sees what has been draining its light. Every false structure, every seductive promise, every system built on exploitation eventually collapses under its own weight. And when it does, heaven does not panic. Heaven calls. Come out of her, my people. This is the heartbeat of the chapter. A call to step away from what entangles. A call to release what no longer aligns. A call to walk in clarity even when the world trembles. As the smoke of Babylon rises, heaven invites us to rise too. Not in fear, but in discernment. Not in judgment, but in liberation. The fall of Babylon is the rise of truth. It is the moment when the soul remembers what is eternal and refuses to be intoxicated by what is temporary. So, as you leave this chapter, carry with you this. You are not defined by the systems that fall around you. You are defined by the ones who call you out, call you up, and call you home to truth. May your spirit walk lightly. May your discernment be sharp. May your heart stay free, free from the illusions that crumble. And may you always hear the voice that says, "Come out, beloved, there is more for you than this." Thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe, comment, and share. Let's get back to love. God is good. Love and light to all. Stay thankful. Until next time, walk gently and shine brightly.